Okay, we're in Ephesians chapter 2, and Paul starts this chapter by talking about the fact that God made us alive together with Christ, who were once dead in our trespasses and sin. And he describes the fact that we had been taught by the world and we lived according to the world, which is under the power of Satan. And so we were being directed by our desires and by our natural cravings, and we had become children of wrath under God's judgment, just as everyone else living in the world. But he says in verse 6, "But God, who is rich in mercy, because of his great love with which he loved us, even when we were dead in trespasses, made us alive together with Christ. By grace you have been saved. And he raised us up together, and he made us sit together in heavenly places in Christ." So God, in his great mercy and his great love, even though we were dead in trespasses, he united us together with Christ in his death, and then he united us with Christ in his resurrection. And this is the power of God's grace. God working through Christ, and Christ giving his life in order to do for us what we could not do for ourselves. And he says, so that in the ages to come he might show the exceeding riches of his grace in his kindness towards us in Christ. Our destiny is going to be lived out because of the grace of God. We have been called to rule and reign with Christ, to live with him in his kingdom and his glory forever, and it will all be a testament to the grace of God that has worked in our lives. But then he says this, he says, "For by grace you have been saved through faith, and that not of yourselves, it is a gift of God, not of works, lest any man should boast." So here's what he's saying. Everything is of grace. The whole work of salvation, freeing us from corruption, bringing us through the process of transformation, and shaping us for our destiny to be like Christ, it is all the work of grace. He says it's not of yourself. It's the gift of God. So this grace is not us. We are not the source of anything. And he says, not of works, lest any man should boast. So we are not the source, nor are we the means. It is not through any strength or virtue that we have. It is not through any effort that we might exert. Everything that happens in the process of salvation happens through the receiving of grace by faith. If our faith is in ourselves, then we boast about ourselves. But if our faith is in Christ and the grace of God through Christ, then we celebrate him. Then we give thanks to him. And in our celebrating, our praise, and our thanksgiving, we are receiving by faith the grace that God has given. This is the process of salvation. By grace through faith, not of yourself, not of your works. I hope that helps you.